Hey there, Trixie from Pixel Party here, and today we will be investigating some boss fights in Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3 that are not easy to deal with as they come early into the game, when your team is still in the early development stage, but that can still be dispatched using some clever thinking or straight up using cutscenes or game design to your advantage. This video will contain minor spoilers, so beware. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Open the bloody gate! Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders! That pack of goblins will be on us any second!
What's going on?
Goblins are on our tail! Open the gate, Zevlor, now! You let goblins here? Where is the druid?
As you progress through the Save the Refugees quest in Baldur's Gate 3, you'll face the challenge of dealing with 3 goblin leaders located at the goblin camp. While one approach involves confronting them head-on, there's an alternative strategy to neutralize these leaders without resorting to combat. This guide is designed to elucidate this non-violent approach, providing a clear path to handling True Soulgut, Minthara, and Dror Ragzlin in Baldur's Gate 3. It's important to note that players who choose the methods outlined in this guide will miss out on some valuable experience points and items. And while this shouldn't dissuade players from opting for a peaceful resolution at the Goblin camp, some may want to consider taking on the leaders in battle.
Good. Nobody saw you arrive. That will be to our advantage.
Idiot. Think with your brain, not your groin for once.
The first boss of the Goblin camp that we'll talk about is Minthara, the drow leader who can be recruited if players decide to follow the dark path of the game. However, here we will plan to take only her head. There are numerous methods to defeat Minthara, the drow leader of the goblins. However, the simplest approach requires just a single arrow. To start, locate Minthara within the goblin camp and engage her in conversation. Convince her that you're eager to assist in her assault on Emerald Grove and the annihilation of everyone there. Once you've disclosed the precise location of Emerald Grove, she'll eventually leave her post and trail her subordinate over a bridge positioned in the center of the chamber. This bridge is suspended over a deep, foreboding chasm. As she proceeds across the bridge, take aim with an arrow at the bridge's section that turns red when highlighted, signifying its vulnerability to breaking on impact. Release your arrow at precisely the right moment, causing Minthara to plummet to her demise. What's more interesting is that using this method will not turn the entire goblin camp hostile, as the deaths are ruled accidental by the goblins. This method becomes easier when using the turn-based mode.
The absolute has touched you, hasn't she? Priestess Gut needs to touch you too. Hold out your arm so I can mark your flesh.
Perhaps the easiest and most straightforward goblin camp leader to eliminate in Baldur's Gate 3 is Priestess Gut, and there are 2 convenient methods to achieve this. Firstly, you can leverage the influence of your Illithid parasite to persuade her that you're also a true soul. She'll extend an invitation for a private conversation to discuss your shared affliction. Follow her away from the watchful eyes of her fellow goblins. Once you're inside her secluded chambers, close the door behind you and launch an attack. She won't have the opportunity to call for reinforcements, making this a swift and uncomplicated confrontation. Alternatively, you can allow Gut to imprison you, only to later witness her assassination by a particular assistant named Corilla.
I command you, corpse. Speak. Reveal truth to the absolute.
Unfortunately, the third and final boss, Ragzlin, doesn't have a cutscene vulnerability, but that doesn't imply that you must engage in combat with him. In fact, there are 2 straightforward methods to deal with him. The first method involves locating a quantity of barrels filled with explosive materials in a nearby room. Avoid any confrontations. Position these barrels near Ragslin, and a simple spark will do the job. Alternatively, you can resort to the classic tactic of giving him a good shove into the chasm, which is always a reliable and entertaining approach.
The book's pull is irresistible. You feel changed, bettered for having opened it. Suddenly you are capable of anything. Felling mountains, darkening suns, conversing with the dead. Glyphs shift gently before your eyes.
You'll encounter this boss fight simply wandering around or by doing the necromancy of They quest, which is a tome that requires a dark amethyst found only in the caves where the spider matriarch and her spawn reside. This boss fight offers an achievement for swiftly defeating her before she hatches her spawn, and there are 2 effective methods to achieve this. Both methods require entering turn-based mode before initiating the fight. The first approach doesn't instantly kill her, but provides a significant advantage. It involves igniting the web the spider typically traverses. This inflicts substantial fall damage and knocks the boss prone. Subsequently, concentrate all your powerful spells on the boss for a rapid kill. The second method necessitates the presence of will, or a warlock character with the Repelling Blast passive. This allows you to push her into the void using Eldritch Blast, leading to a quick and decisive victory. After journeying through the Grim Forge and ancient forge regions in Baldur's Gate 3, you'll eventually come across the coveted Adamantine Forge, allowing you to craft some of the game's finest weapons and armor. As you explore the areas preceding the Adamantine Forge, be on the lookout for molds and mithrils scattered around. Once you reach the Adamantine Forge, insert any mold you've acquired into the mold chamber and deposit your mithril into the crucible at the center. Pull the forge lever located on the south side, causing the entire platform to descend to a lower level. Proceed to the east side and turn the lava valve. However, once you get the forge operational, you'll immediately face Grim, one of Act 1's most formidable adversaries. To even make a dent in Grim's armor, you must physically drench it in lava. Grim possesses 2 significant weaknesses. The first tactic involves a strategic approach. Lure Grim into the elevated central section, exploiting a passive that compels the boss to target the last character that damaged it. Once Grim arrives in the designated area, activate the mechanism to deal damage, summoning weaker enemies that can be swiftly dispatched, making the boss battle much more manageable. The second method, our personal favorite for dealing with bosses, is a wrestling move known as the Owlbear from the top rope. This powerful move can instantly annihilate any boss foolish enough to endure its force. To execute this move, a moon druid should assume the form of an owlbear, which grants the crushing flight ability, increasing in damage with size and distance. Position yourself at an elevated location, use the enlarge ability, and unleash it against the machine to obliterate it. What's great about this method is that it can technically be applied to all bosses in the game. Thank you again for watching, and please like and subscribe as it really helps the channel. And if there's a detail missing, please let us know in the comments below.